Well, I tried to do a Facebook Live video, but it stopped working. So I'm on my phone, which I need to do something about my situation because I don't have a good setup for phone. Maybe this is better. Okay, that'll work. I like having my map behind me. It's like my signature now. Oh, which reminds me, this is an update video, by the way, an update on Colleen's life, if anybody cares, for my Auntie Joan, who, I don't know, isn't as worried about me as she was before, because I'm back home in Colorado. All right, so last year, a year ago, I was in Lebanon and Greece, and then back to Lebanon, and then Jordan, and then I came back through Israel in December, early December. After returning, I got really sick. I was sick a little bit in Israel, but it was rainy and I wasn't sleeping good because I was trying to work and I had to travel and it was just kind of messed up. But I really got sick after I got home. And after Joanna got it too. And then later, after we heard people talking about their symptoms, she had a little bit different symptoms than I did, but they all sounded like COVID. So we thought maybe we had COVID already. And then a lot of other people were posting on Facebook too that they have it, that they thought they had it. And so, anyway, what we know mostly about COVID is that most of the data has been wrong, most of the reporting has been wrong. The news media has hyped it ridiculously. And once that crisis wasn't big enough to subdue Americans, then we had to have race riots in our city, or Antifa riots, or whatever kind of riots you would like to call them. And, because it's been 4 years since an election, so it's time to have race riots again. And it's not that long before an election, not in America, because campaigning pretty much goes on 24/7. Continuously. So in Colorado, when COVID shut down, I worked a lot. My Chinese students had their packages already paid for, and they were on holiday, and they'd opened up holiday hours, so I was working like crazy. And then I added Cambly, started working on Cambly, and was doing all right. After 2 months, though, then China started having trouble. So China was shut down. I mean, my company went through some changes, and sorry, I got distracted by my own hair. When your hair distracts you. It was really nice and curly this morning, and then it's gotten kind of messed up over the days. So sorry for thinking about my hair in the middle of talking on my own video. Now everything's changing because of online teaching. And I'm a little scared because I have lost a lot of income. But I did save up money, so I think I'll be okay. And I started teaching college in the fall, and I've already spent some hours training that I'll get paid for. So just kind of hoping that everything works out. I applied for some other jobs, but the whole industry is going through changes. And really, when I started all this, I didn't set out to be an online English teacher. I wanted to get a job helping refugees or doing something like that. Something to do with political science, even teach. And I've always thought that being a community college professor would be awesome. I thought I would really enjoy that life, and I still do. And it's career-wise, my career isn't really about myself. This is about my vocation and my calling. So God really called me to the Middle East, to the refugee crisis, to getting to know the Middle East better, and just to understanding that whole situation. And I just have a heart and a love for those people that I cannot explain outside of God. So that hasn't changed. I still love all my friends here, even though I don't associate with them as much, because God is changing things in my life, and He's changing things in the world, and I believe His time is drawing nearer. And so all of us need to focus our energies more on what they think is most important. Now, I really wanted to come back to Colorado to reestablish myself. Excuse me, my lips are dry. I was working a long time this morning. And just kind of figure out what God had next for me. But I also, I'm trying to get Alex through his CAP program, which isn't going so great, and Caleb in his recovery. And, I feel very ineffective. They live with their dads, and it's very difficult to have an influence when you're not living in the same home. I'm doing my best. I got a car so I can drive Alex places, but then of course everything shut down, so he's even more on his computer like everyone. But some good news, he is working on taking a physics class. I did find a great app to use called Khan Academy, Khan, like Genghis Khan. So it's free. It's just really amazing. It's really what I'm all about as far as education transition goes. And Alex is using it. So that's the number one test for any program. Will the student, especially an independent, unschooled student like Alex, age 14, will they want to use it? And he's using it apparently. So that is a bright light. For Alex, his goals are set. We just have to get him there. And for him, he wants to be a Navy SEAL, but he's not getting enough exercise, and I don't think it's ever going to happen while he's at his dad's house. This program that I always had my children on, of maintaining their physical fitness and a high level of activity, has not been carried on with Alex, and I'm having a really hard time getting anything going with him. His martial arts studio is still shut down. Affording things is hard. I'm paying for everything myself. His dad obviously is feeding him now and paying for rent, because he's not paying me child support anyway. So that's kind of the situation where I am now. We're looking at potentially shutting down again. And if we shut down again and I can't swim, I don't know how I'm going to do. I'm not doing so good now. I need to swim. And I know that sounds like an elite kind of thing, but it's that or a wheelchair, literally. I won't be walking if I can't swim. I guess I could try harder to do more of other things, but there's something about that horizontal position and using my upper thighs that strengthens exactly the area that I need to strengthen, the way that I need to strengthen it, and relieves pain in my lower back and throughout my whole body, because I have one leg shorter than the other, so my whole spine is thrown off. And so what am I going to do? If everything shuts down, there's no swimming pools, I'm landlocked. So I know a teacher in Curaçao, or Curaçao, however you say it, which is a Dutch Antilles Virgin Island. For those of you who don't know geography very well, this is Florida. Below Florida, you go, let's see, do they show Cuba on here? No, Nassau, the Bahamas, and then Puerto Rico's down there. Puerto Rico is where I lived as a teenager, and I was devastated when I left. It makes me want to cry right now thinking about it. That's why I'm laughing, because I'm like, I'm getting choked up. I'm not going to cry about this. But I left that place and I loved it. And I didn't want to leave, and I always wanted to go back. It took me a long time to deal with not going back. But I think it's time. because if I'm by the ocean and the water's warm, I can swim. I'm not good at video editing, so I'm not pausing this. I'm just going to keep going. I can swim. Alex can swim. It's warm year round. I struggle with the cold too. It really, tightens me up, makes everything hurt, makes me not want to go out. So I think I'm doing it. I think I'm going to move. I'm going to try to get an actual job down there. They have the university in San Juan also has adjunct professor positions. I'm hoping I can keep the job I have now, since it's going to be online this semester and we don't know what's happening in the future, that I could still teach from distance. I don't know. This video is friends only, so don't tell my boss, okay? But my lease is up in November. I'm hoping that's enough time. If everything shuts down in September, I'm like, holy moly. So that's where I pray. And I really pray God, guide me in this. Don't let me get locked down where I am. I guess worst case analysis, I could drive to Florida, and that's what I would do, because that's where Sarah is. And even if they shut down the beaches, so that's the thing. If they're shutting everything down, it's going to be very difficult. I can only imagine getting away with swimming in a place like I looked up the map in Puerto Rico, and there were several places where they had no COVID, and they're a little remote. And I don't know, it's kind of scary. It looks good on a map, and then you get there and you're like, holy cow, can I really live here? But that's where God comes in. He's got to work out the details. That he is always the one. When he calls me to do something, he works out the details. And I do feel a little safer, because even if I have an ex-husband that doesn't love me, there is a certain relationship there, and they have guns, and I'm like, wow, I could just go there in really desperate times, or any number of acquaintances. I've lived in Colorado for over 20 years, and even though I don't have a lot of best friends, I have a lot of great friends who, if I really needed something, give me a thumbs up. I know you would help me, right? Because you're all good people. And if I was really desperate and came to you and said, help, you would help me. So that's scary to leave, to just put yourself, that's what I learned from traveling in the Middle East. I was like, holy crap, I'm surviving out here and God's taking care of me, but it's scary. So, that's how it's going to be. I have to remind myself, it sounds fun going to a tropical island and all of that. But at the same time, Puerto Rico has issues. I'm totally aware of that. I might go to another island, but I still feel a little safer being on American soil. But to be completely honest, I don't have a lot of hope for America. And this is where we get into the biblical context. Okay, I look at everything from past, present, and future, hopefully from God's eternal perspective, because I have studied the Bible. I studied it intensely and for over 30 years. And it's the Old Testament and the New Testament. So it's what the Hebrews believed. And the Muslims who draw whatever they draw from the Old Testament, they draw a lot of it from there, from the prophets of old, and from everything I'm seeing. So it's not just Christian biblical prophecy that I look at. I look at Muslim prophecy, and I look at Zionism and what's happening, what man is doing, regardless of whether it's prophecy times or not. They're doing everything to make it look like it is. Rebuilding the temple, a red heifer has been born. Damascus is destroyed. Damascus is the oldest city in the world. And when Damascus is destroyed, that's when Jesus is coming back. And so there's all these signs going on. Plus, Gog and Magog are supposed to invade from the north, okay? And that's China. And Persia is involved too. That's Iran. And Russia also has designs on the area. Guys, China and Iran just made some huge energy deals because Iran has nowhere to go because we've sanctioned them. And Europe buys from Russia. And America is probably Mystery Babylon, which in Revelation 10 is talked about as disappearing in 1 hour. And all the merchants of the world will mourn not being able to trade with her anymore. So most likely New York is the epicenter, which is why they destroyed the World Trade Center. That's part of it. It's all about money and trade, a lot of it, because that's the world system. And that's what they love, and that's what they use to control people. And when I say they, I mean the elites, the most wealthiest, who are Satan worshipers. They do serve Moloch. They literally worship him. There are rites and rituals, and all the information is out there. If you can find the thread and pull it, you'll find it. And if you just go through my Facebook page, whatever still might be there, or if you follow me at all, if you can follow any of the YouTube threads that I follow, you'll see it. It's all there. And there's original documentation, original witnesses, people who are involved. There's collaborating witnesses. There's collaborating documentation. Once you learn to do research, you learn that you don't watch the news. The news is not research. The news is a propaganda machine. It's paid for. It is paid for. When will people get this through their heads? You don't like it if a salesman comes on strong to you and tries to sell you stuff, right? You reject that. Well, that's what the news media is. Why do you accept that? Why do you think that they're telling you the truth out of the goodness of their hearts? They're not. Okay, if you're still stuck in the old corporate media paradigm, then you're trapped in their lie. They're just lying to you. And you should be questioning everything. Unfortunately, we have too many people who are trapped there. A lot of people are waking up. And I don't know, though. I think some people won't. Some people still say I'm crazy. And just still believe CNN and MSNBC and even Fox News as they play their little Republican, Democrat. Hello, wake up. This is a drug. This is a drug. You might as well be a crackhead if you're sitting there watching the news every day thinking that this fight between Democrats and Republicans is the real fight. That's not the fight. That is not the fight. The fight is us, the little minions throughout the world, fighting with those who want to control us, kill us, because they do want to eliminate the population. Listen, this is turning into a rant. I'm sorry I should make more videos. But if I've gotten you this far, please hear me out. Sick people tell you what they're going to do because they can't help it. It's their whole world. It's where they live. And when they talk, it's going to come out of their mouth. So Bill Gates has an entire symposium, with all these people, and they talk about what's going to happen in a pandemic, what they want to happen, what will happen, and if they have other things that have been repeated over the past decade, and one of that is population reduction. Who do you think they want to kill first? Who do you think they want to kill, period? It's the same as the Nazis' experiments. Operation Paperclip was carried forward from Nazi Germany into the US. We kept all their doctors, we kept all their science, and there's a lot of evil people that have kept their plans going. So eugenics is all part of it. That's why we're all in this whole transgender thing. Christians in the 1990s were saying homosexuality, where is it going to end? You recognize gay marriage, where is it going to end? You recognize first trimester abortions, where is it going to end? You allow your children free will in technology, and I still hear people saying, oh, because Christians were so against Harry Potter and now they found out their children aren't going to be witches. No? Then why are people posting even sicker videos now that our children should watch out for? It's because we've been groomed and conditioned to think, oh, Harry Potter is not, it's not going to hurt anyone. It's just a story. It's good versus evil. And and because once your heart starts turning in a certain direction, you keep going that way. And that is their plan. Temptation always works this way. It's how Satan works. He deceives you into things. We're all deceived. We've all been deceived. There's an entire world system because Satan wants to be God. And that's the whole game. Satan wants to be God. And to do that, he's taken over world systems. He's been working on it for thousands of years. It's always been his plan. He's not going to win. He doesn't know when Jesus is coming back. He can read the Bible, but he doesn't understand it, because you can only understand it if you have the Holy Spirit living in you. So I know that sounds like a catch-22, and it is. You got to have faith. And to have faith, you have to have the Holy Spirit. And to have the Holy Spirit, you have to believe. And you have to receive the Holy Spirit. So I believe we are in a time where the contractions are going to accelerate. One of my prophetic people that I listened to said that he thought we were in the early birth pains. Well, he was a man, and he doesn't know what birth pains are like. So I respect him very much, but I've been thinking about this for a long time myself, and I've had 5 children, 6 born alive. I've actually had 6 deliveries. One was at half term, but it was still a labor and a delivery, so I know what labor and delivery feels like. From each child is different, so each labor and delivery was different, and it's all different. But I can tell you that when those birth pains begin, it's very surprising. Even on number 5, you're like, holy cow, this hurts. And you can't do anything about it. That's the weirdest thing. Your body is taken over, and there is nothing you could do. Now, there are medicines to speed up and slow down, and I have taken Pitocin to speed up my contractions, because I have a lot of trouble giving birth and delivering. My body just doesn't want to give up those babies. So I've had to have help. And if I lived in other days and other times, I may have died in childbirth, because my babies won't come out without a lot of help. So, but in any way, I still know what the labor feels like. I know what the delivery feels like. And it's bad. I don't think we're there yet. This reminds me of Braxton Hicks contractions, which are kind of like fake ones. They happen at like the top of your stomach. The real contractions, I always feel them in my back. People call them back contractions, but they're all mostly in the lower part. The Braxton Hicks happen up here. They're mild, they're annoying, they're brief, they don't really hurt that bad. They just kind of like make you go, whoa, what's happening? I think that's what's happening right now. There's a lot of people who fight about pre-trib, post-trib. When are we going to get raptured, if we're going to get raptured at all? A large portion of the Christian body of believers believes in a rapture. Jesus will catch us up to the sky. I believe in a rapture. I personally believe sort of in a pre-trib rapture. I don't know why. I don't think Christians will have to suffer a lot, but many will be beheaded. Many have already been beheaded. Many will be tortured. So I don't know. I really don't know what that's all about. But I do know that as that time draws near, that we as Christians, we don't stop doing our good works, because that's a part of who we are, what we do, our very existence. We cannot be selfish and be real Christians. You can't. You can't. You have to join in God's work and do what He's doing. But that can take many different forms. And, we have to go into our closet and pray. We have to pray a lot. And that's what God called me to do. When I went to Colorado Christian University, He called me to a time of contemplation. Now, getting there is a process. And because I'm Irish, I have a hard time with that. I do want to be sociable around other people. But what the Irish monks did is they withdrew to quiet places. And I feel very called to that. The internet provides plenty of excitement, so I don't really need to be in a big city or anywhere, and I still need to watch myself because of the internet, so I still do have that quiet place, that quiet time that's not interrupted. And it also offers me the opportunity to continue to minister throughout the world, which may be our only option in COVID times. So that being said, I feel very released to move to Puerto Rico and give myself self-care, train Alex to swim. There's plenty of naval personnel there. They probably even have a CAT program there. And so hopefully now that he's 14, he's getting more personally responsible, and he'll really pursue this for himself if I give him the opportunity. So that's where I'm at, guys. I might be moving. Let's all pray.